All right. So, welcome to anyone watching this live, and also welcome to those of you watching on YouTube recorded. I appreciate it. So, the plan is for me to start doing these solo RPG sessions on Wednesday evenings. So, I'll be streaming these on my Twitch channel, and I'll drop a link in the video once this is uploaded on YouTube. But my goal is to hopefully give some exposure to some of the solo RPGs that I feel like just don't get a ton of exposure. And frankly, I've struggled to really get a group and get consistency. I like playing Shadow of the Demon Lord, Pathfinder 2e, some 5e, hopefully some Shadow Dark soon. I love all those things, but it's really been challenging for me to find a consistent group and to find the time to be consistent to play. So I thought I would start getting more into the solo RPGs, and horror really strikes my fancy. So a couple of games really got my attention, both on the horror front and then also just on more of the dark fantasy front. So the games you're going to see me playing in the coming weeks are Under Ashen Skies, which we'll be starting with tonight. Carnathalis, which is a dark RPG dungeon crawling type of game by Black Oath Entertainment, and Under Ashen Skies is Black Oath Entertainment as well. And also 2D6 Dungeon by Toby Lancaster. I really enjoyed that as well. So I haven't decided yet, and I might ask in my video for some responses, or if folks jump into this live session, I might ask you what you'd prefer, but I'm either going to do alternate weeks of these games, so just one every other week, and just switch it up, or I might do several sessions in a row of one game and see how that goes. So I haven't decided that yet, but enough of all the intro. I'll drop a link to where this starts, but we'll get started, and we're going to start with character creation. So before I get there, Under Ashen Skies is a horror role-playing game, solo game by Black Oath Entertainment and Alex T and Alan Barr. And I really liked this game. Struck me as certainly a Silent Hill, which Alex notes on his website as one of his inspirations for Under Ashen Skies. But it also reminds me of like Memento. You have a memory gap and don't really know what's happening. And honestly, I don't know the whole story. I've really tried not to spoil things, but I will say before we dive in, there will be spoilers. So I am doing a playthrough, and if you don't want to see that, I have a couple of other videos. I have not seen much out there at all on Under Ashen Skies. Grim Jim did a video review. I've done a video review, and I did a kind of a test playthrough that's out on YouTube. And hopefully now I'll be able to do several sessions. But I'm playing through this because I just haven't seen much out there on it and really wanted to give the game some exposure. So the tool that you're seeing on my screen right now, I'll be going through the PDF a bit as we play through to show you various aspects of combat and what have you. And the wrapper you see around this and the browser information here is a product called the Augur, which is a virtual tabletop. I'll drop a link into that, but you can type !Augur and get some more information. But that is a solo virtual tabletop, and I've really found that to be pretty cool. You can customize it like I've done to get the Under Ashen Skies RPG into it. So enough of that. I'm actually going to go to the intro of this game, and I'm going to read through it more for the YouTube than those that are watching, but hopefully you don't mind. It'll take me a minute or two, but we'll get to the beginning and then we'll get into character creation. But I thought we'd start with this intro here. So here we go. Pain. The first thing you remember is pain. Dull, slow, dragged out pain. The pain of loss, of death, of abandoned joys and found sorrows. The next thing you remember are stars. Bright, whirling, screaming stars. The lights of hope, of purpose, of faith. And then you remember the dark and the cold, biting, oppressive, smothering. The dark and cold of reality, of truth, of everything. And then you realize that's all you remember. You open your eyes and stare into the ceiling above. Confused, you sit up and look around. You find yourself in a fairly empty apartment. Some old furniture here and there, a book or two standing on a shelf at the back of the room. What is this place? Where are you? You get on your feet and realize you're wearing a white shirt, white pants, and white sneakers, but little else. You check your pockets and find nothing. Is this your place? Are these your clothes? For some reason, you don't remember anything. A wave of panic invades you as you realize that, in fact, you don't remember anything at all. You know your name, but nothing else. Were you involved in some kind of accident? Did you hit your head? Or pass out after a night of too much drinking? Do you even drink? It's quite cold in here, so you decide to search around for a sweater and any clues. The place is dark, and the light doesn't seem to be working. Oh well, you'll deal with that later. You can still see well enough. As a matter of fact, there's a flashlight laying on the table. You pick it up and take a closer look at the place. It's a tiny one-bedroom apartment with a sofa bed, an old TV, doesn't work, some shelves, a roomy closet, empty, and a filthy kitchen. Where's the toilet? Ah yes, right beside the entrance, very classy. A single window with no apparent way of opening it is your only source of natural light. You approach it hoping to see something that will jolt your memory. Outside, the view is pretty bleak. A desolate street with only a car or two parked on the sidewalk and not a person in sight. It must be almost night since you can't really see much, aside from the fact that it appears to be snowing. Overall, there's nothing that can help you know where you are, aside from some urban area or town. You seem to be several floors above street level, but there aren't any tall buildings around, aside from the one you're in. Turning around, you decide to take a better look at your place. 2 steps and you're in front of the only shelf. Maybe the books will give you some kind of clue. Grabbing one, you realize there's no title. As a matter of fact, once you open it, you see that all the pages are blank. You grab another book, the same. 5 books later, you're almost hyperventilating. All the books are blank. Who keeps blank books on a shelf? Are they props? Is this a movie set? Ah yes, this must be some type of elaborate prank, or one of those escape rooms people seem to enjoy so much. Of course, someone out there is laughing at you right now. You start checking all the corners for cameras, the lamps, the shelf, everything. 15 minutes later, and out of breath, you've trashed the place and found nothing. As a wave of desperation washes all over you, you fall on your knees. What is going on? You ask yourself out loud, hitting your head. That moment, you hear a scraping sound coming from the entrance of the apartment. Looking up, you see a piece of paper being pushed under the door, and you hear quick steps outside. Standing up as fast as you can, you get to the door and open it. There's no one there, only a dark and filthy hallway, full of boxes and other garbage. With a shiver, you close the door and pick up the note that was slipped under it. Find the others. That's all it says. That's it, nothing more. So what seems to really confuse you, this is written by you. So there's no doubt about it. I mean, the squiggly, messy handwriting, it looks like definitely you. But who are these others? And who slipped this note under your door? So you really don't know what to make of anything. And that's where we start. You take a last look at the apartment, picking up a can of beans, bottle of water, a kitchen knife you found in the kitchen, tossing it in a backpack, and exit the apartment. So we're going to take a pause right there and actually run through character creation. So I will scroll down to the beginning of character creation, and I'll try to go through some of the rules and such as we go, but let's just jump right in. So we're going to start with our attributes, and it's pretty darn simple. So all the attributes will seem really similar to you. It's strength, dex, con, will, intelligence, charisma. So if you've played any D&D, Pathfinder, anything of that nature, these are going to be really familiar with you. And all your attributes start at 10. They can range from 1 to 18. And what you're going to basically do for most of your tests is you're going to be rolling a d20 and add your attribute score, if it's an attribute test, or your skill score, and you're trying to get a target of 20 or higher. So I have got a form fillable character sheet that we'll flip back and forth to. In a nod to the creator of the game, Alex, I'm going to call the character, his name is Alex. I've already got the the scores for the primary attributes loaded in here. And let's see what else we get. We get 5 fate, and we might gain more during the gameplay. And what fate will do is allow you to re-roll any roll. For a solo role-playing game where you're more prone to die and you typically struggle, or at least from what I've seen in many games, you struggle as a solo player. So I like the ability to get those re-rolls. All right, let's keep going. Stamina. Stamina determines your action. It's basically your action economy. So you start with 10 points of stamina. We've already got that. Trauma, you start with 0. And if you ever reach to 100, you crack. And I have read the rules far enough to know that if you do get to 100 trauma, you die. And I think that's end of story. Wounds are like health, and you can suffer a maximum of 3 wounds. So all of that, if we flip back to our character sheet, we've got our 5 fate, we've got our stamina, 0 trauma, and a max of 3 wounds. So we've got all that loaded already. So let's look at skills. So skills range from complete incompetence at 0. So that would mean if I'm rolling a d20 on a skill check and I have a 0, I literally have to get a roll of a 20 in order to succeed. So if you have a 15, then obviously you only need a 5 or higher. So during character creation, which is where we are now, we can distribute 50 points. I'll probably go ahead and just kind of use this suggested array. So 10, 2 8s, 2 7s, and 2 5s. You can do whatever you want, obviously, as long as you don't go over 10 on any one skill. So let's look at these. Crafting, it's going to be important to cobble together some resources and create resources from items we find and scavenge. I think first aid is going to be somewhat important. Definitely think melee combat, from what I've seen, it's really going to be tough on melee combat. So I'll probably do a fair bit there. Perception is normally going to govern your initiative, as I recall. And scavenging is definitely going to be important. Resolve, that's how you fend off trauma, so that'll probably be important. Sneaking, you can avoid combat that way. So I definitely want a sneaky character because you can become cautious, and that really helps your skill set or really helps your ability in combat. And then technology. So let's go back to our character sheet. So I think I'm going to give myself a 10 in sneaking, and let's do 2 8s. So I'd like to have an 8. Oh man, combat. You know what? I'm going to do it a little. I'm going to do scavenge of 8. I will do melee combat of 8. And then we'll do 2 7s. I want a pretty high resolve of 7. And crafting will come into play later. First aid, I think, will be important. So let's do a 7 there. And then 2 5s, and I think I'm done. 10, 2 8s, 2 7s, 2 5s. 10, 2 8s, 2 7s, so 2 5s. So I think we'll do perception as a 5. And then let's do let's do persuasion, because there are NPCs in this game, and that could become important if we want to talk our way out of something. So I think that's it. That's 18, 25, 30, 35, 43, 50. Yep, that's it. All right, so that's it for that. And I think that is literally it for your stats. So now what we're going to do is, I've already done this, but I'll show you quickly if I can find the right bookmark here. Let's go down to our starting gear. I'll close this out. So you start with, and I've already loaded this on the form fillable character sheet, and I will drop a link to that in case anybody wants to play this. There are some free tools. I've made some, and other folks in the community have made some. The form fillable character sheet I actually created using the standard character sheet. So starting gear, you get a flashlight, 2 batteries, 5 rations, supplies, boots, and other clothing that really helps with your warmth. And the final piece I know that we have to do is roll on the weapons table. So let me go back to a second. Go to our bookmarks, and I'm going to be flipping around a lot, so I apologize in advance, but I don't know the game too much yet. We'll go to Instruments of Harm, And so now we roll randomly on this table, and this is a D86. So we're going to roll a D8 and a D6. So I am going to use, I'm using a program called 3D Dice that will pop this roll on screen, hopefully, if all works as intended. All right, so that's an 82. So we've got an 82. So let's scroll down and see what that gives us. So 82 is a crowbar. I like that. That sounds like something that you would find easily in an apartment. So let's go back to our character sheet, and we're going to write down, let's scroll down to find our weapons. So I guess I'll put it in my right hand. Well, I think there's a section. So I'm going to put the weapon down here, crowbar. And then let's put parenthetically, there is some information we want to know. Stunned +2. So we'll type that in, stunned +2. And then what else? It's a medium. I don't know how important that is. And then tiring. So let's write those down. So we'll say, comma, let's go down to the next line, space, medium, tiring. So let's just look at, and I'm going to put that in my right hand just so I know that I have it. So let's go and look at the tiring. After a combat in which a tiring weapon is used, the user is automatically exhausted. Oof, we'll have to remember that and look at that. Okay, so we've got everything that we need now for the moment. I'm going to scroll this back up to the top. However, I do want to get this character loaded into the auger so that we can track everything and have, we'll track a lot of the detail in the form fillable character sheet because we have to track a lot of time and things like that. But I want to get the character in here. So let's add in, it's the wrong section. We're going to create a character here. And the cool thing about the auger is you can make this look like whatever you want. So let's start, and I'll find image. He kind of reminds me of Ash from The Evil Dead. Let's go with this. So we're going to take our buddy Ash, or Adam. And if you remember what we said is we heard we have a white shirt. So if I can find just a shirt that's luxurious, let's see what we can find. It looks like just a normal, how about this? So here's a basic shirt. Can we find a white shirt? If it's not white, it's gonna be good enough. Maybe we'll take how about it's a plate cuirass. How about a t-shirt here? This is pretty close, gray, whitish. So we'll do that. And then we'll look for pants, jogger, Goliath grease, pants. And it said white. So let's do like gray. He's just going to be like straight up gray, whitish. Weapon. I don't think we'll find a crowbar, but we'll put something in his hand. So let's scroll down and get something that's crowbar-ish, maybe. Katana, morning star, sword. How about, we got like a morning star. It's good enough. It's not quite a crowbar. And then we'll update the background to be more like a modern day, but not sci-fi. We'll just put him, we'll put him outside, see if I see anything else that looks interesting. Doesn't have to be crazy. But you can see there's a lot of options, a lot of sci-fi options, as well as high fantasy. So we're going to go like something like that. Yeah, there we go. All right, done. So we're going to call him Adam. All right, so now we have Adam, and I can click on Adam, and you can see him here. You can see his background. What I'm going to do, though, is I've already added in all of the attributes for this system. So if you look right now, he's got nothing in traits, doesn't have any information in here at all. But if I go to the cog, the gear here, and I import the rule set I already created, and I double click on that rule set, it will load in everything that I loaded for this type of character. Then if I go back, you'll see all of the It's a little hard to read. I might change that background. Well, it's not too bad. You know at the top, that's strength. So let me, I kind of like that. Avatar customization. I am going to go back and just do a little bit, maybe darker background so that you can actually see the stats. If somebody comes in here late, maybe just a little bit darker, something like that. Yeah, it's a little better. We'll take that. And then I like actually having his, you can kind of see it looks a little bit like a crowbar. So we're going to go with that. All right, so I'm going to open his character sheet and we'll go up to the top and we've got all the strength. All of those stats are 10, wounds, a maximum of 3, fate 5, stamina, all of that's where it should be. His warmth is 9 and that comes from his clothing. So that's fine. So let's update his skills here. So this is a 7. Right, and you can roll right in this system, but I'm going to use 3D dice. So we'll be using that. So melee is 8, perception is 5. So this is 8. Perception is 5. Let's go back. Perception's 8, 5. Persuasion 5. Resolve 7. Persuasion 5. Resolve 7. Right, so we'll put this at 7. And what else do we have? Scavenge 8, sneaking 10. Scavenge 8 and sneaking 10. So that'll just help me remember. Like I said, I'll do the rolls so you can see them. I'll do them in 3D dice, but that should be everything. Let's add these up. 15, 20, 25, 32, 40, 50. Okay, so I think we are just about ready to go. So I'm going to open up my Under Ashen Skies personal, not personal, but reference guide. So this is a free document that comes when you purchase Under Ashen Skies. Take a quick drink. Okay, so we are going to get started. I'm going to use this rather than use the rule book when I can help it because it's a little bit easier, a little bit smaller. So what we do first is typically you'll roll on a site. You have a number of different sites you can explore, but you start in your apartment block. So you have to get through your apartment block and defeat the big monster, which are called Make. That's the boss monster. You're going to have to beat that Make before you can explore outside of your apartment. So we don't have to roll on the site. We don't have to travel to our site because we're in our apartment building. So the first thing we're going to have to do is roll a D12 to determine the site's cold factor. So we'll look that up, but let's roll our D12 on the stream. And as that's rolling, I got a 5. That's actually good, I believe. So let's pop back up and look at our, if I can find it, look at the pane and look for temperature. I do love it when people have bookmarks on their PDFs. So where is my temperature? I know it's right here. Well, I'm going to look for it since it's not jumping out at me. Temperature. There we go. There it is. I just couldn't find it. All right. So we rolled our D12 and that is going to be the cold factor. So I'm going to make a note of that. And what happens is if your warmth, so I have a warmth of 9, if you remember, but if my warmth is more than 2 points lower than the cold factor, then you start taking a -1 to all your skill tests. So for every 2 points below, your warmth is below the site's cold factor. And a difference of 10 points or more means you flat out die. And you can, by carrying a torch, it will grant you a +1 warmth. So, okay, so what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to go back into, for a second, I'm going to go back into, I have a character journal that I'm going to utilize. So let's make this font a little bit bigger. Just want to make sure you guys can see this. And I'm going to say, let's see, we'll make that, 24. We're going to say current temperature 5. So for now, that doesn't affect us, but it could over time, it could get worse, or things can happen to make that actually even colder and cause issues. So, okay, so let's go back to our guide. Let's close this down. So we did the D12. Sum the levels of all players to determine party level. We're still at level 1, but that is a way to increase your peril levels, so it helps make the game more balanced as I understand it. So we don't have to worry about that. Roll a D6 for the maximum number of ambush encounters. So let's do that. Let's see, we want this low. That's not what we want. We do not want a 5. So, okay. So ambush encounters, basically, that represents how often will I possibly get ambush encounters? How many of these could occur at any given site? That's what I recall. We can look it up if needed. So we'll go back here and we're going to say maximum ambush encounters 5. And let's do this just so we can track. We're going to do 1, 2, nope. Come on, just let me do that. Maybe it's just spacing. Shoot. Oh, maybe that's the key, is I have to space or do some. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So at least now I can check those off. So at least I can. All right. So we got those. That was tougher than it should have been. So we got that all set. So now let's go back, explore the site. So we won't worry about the next thing once the site's clear, but we're going to go to the next section and explore the site. So exploration. So let's go back. I for a moment, I want to look at I did do a summary here for site exploration. So let's just look at this. It should have the same information: peril level, number of ambush encounters, explore each room you decide until you face the Maquet, complete all the tasks once the site's cleared. Okay. So we got to keep track of our nemesis. We'll go through that after combat, I think. Keep track of your supplies and investigation track and the devouring. So, all right, I'm going to go back. I know there's a fair bit of setup, but we're almost into this. So let's go back to the PDF for a second. And I want to go to explaining gameplay. So here's this. Yep. So we already said choosing the site. We've already gone through this, and you have to clear out your apartment block. So let's look. Is there anything else I need to do? We'll look at ambush encounters in a minute, but let's read just a bit about the apartment block, and then we'll look at ambush encounters. So let me read this. The apartment block. The apartment block where the player's apartment can be found is where the story begins. This is an unremarkable downtown apartment block, similar to any other found across America. A sinister force has taken over the place, though. The air is thick with tension, and the smell of fear and shadows are always lurking in the corner of your eye. All windows have been blocked and covered, so there's no daylight coming from outside. And as is the case with most of Riverside, which is the town we're in, there is no electricity. Hey, Eraser Man, thanks for popping in. Most of the apartment seems to have been blocked by furniture and debris, and the upper floors are completely inaccessible. There are some apartments that are accessible, though, and there is a way out of the blocks as well, for those brave enough to face the twisted encounters and lost souls that now call this place home. Once the apartment block has been cleared, this PC can enter their apartment through the fire escape instead of having to clear the apartment out. That's important because the apartment is basically like your home base. So I'm going to pop open the map. So this is a map I've created in the Augur. You can see there's a number of different sites. What we're going to focus on, and I'm going to start at the second level of the apartment, and we're going to open that and put that on the main screen. So the reason that there are several versions of the map, or there's multiple levels, and then there's also a different map when you face something that's called the Devouring. So this reminds me a bit of I Am Legend, like day versus night. Daytime, it's not horrible, but at night things get crazy, and it's almost a bit like Stranger Things and Upside Down World, and it gets all kinds of crazy. But we're going to put our character in. So I'm going to drag my guy up here and drop a token in here. And this is going to be his home base. So for now, what I'm going to do is open up. I put in a bunch of icons, tokens in here. And I'm going to put a 0 icon in here and open it so I can just make some notes. Open the detail panel, hopefully. Is it letting me? Should. Open the panel. It's not letting me open the panel. It should. No. Well, shoot. Let's do this again. Well, heck. Open detail panel. That's interesting because I swear that this should be allowing me to open this. It's what you get on a live stream. Let's try this again because this worked before. So let's go back to my icons. What if I drag a 1 on here? Is that? Flip object, resize, open details. Well, that's a little discouraging. Oh, you know what I think I have to do? I think I've got it. Let's do this. Does this open the map? Yeah, I think what I have to do, pop this guy out again. Let's drop him on. And then I think might be under maps. So if I drop it in from maps, and then I think I can, thought I could. Huh. Well, I might just have to make my own notes from now, and we'll just remember. But I swear that I was able to do this before. Locations? So locations. Add tags. Huh. Well, I'll have to remember this in the future. But I know there's a way to actually make this part of a map, which is what's frustrating me a bit. I wonder if I need to actually go into users library, maps. Yeah. All right. I'm going to remember that for next time and try to work out why that's not working. But for now, we know that this 0 is the apartment for Adam. So let's go back to our guide here, and we'll do exploration. So we're going to walk out of this room, and we do have a light source. So he's going to have his flashlight in his left hand. And I do want to be cautious. So when you're cautious, you have a better chance of surprising any creatures and any type of encounter. But for each room, it does move you forward on the time track. So we will make sure that as soon as we go into the next room, we're going to go ahead and move forward one on the time track. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to roll on the room features, but first, let me go back to, I think it's going to be easier if I do this. Side exploration. And so I'm going to look at ambush encounter again so I don't forget. Yeah, 5 possible encounters. The start of each new cycle, you must roll a d10. A 1 or 2, you've been ambushed. So we're not going to worry about that until we go through a full cycle. So that's great. So now, okay, we've done that. Exploration. Okay, this is what I want. I know there's a lot of text here. So starting at the top, we know we're going to be cautious. So we are going to make a stealth roll. So my sneaking skill, if you look here on my character sheet, is a 10. So I'm going to roll a d20, add 10, and I need it. I'm right now, normally you would need a 20 or more, but this is going to be an opposed roll if I do run into a monster. So we'll just roll a d20 to begin with. And I'm going to make note of the stealth roll on, I just have a wet erase board. So that's a 12 plus 10 is a 22. So I'm going to say stealth 22. So we're going to keep note of that. And so we don't know what's happening yet. So we're going to next go to the room features. Room features, room contents. I want to make sure I'm doing this right. So let's go back to, yep, did that, yep. All right, so what I'm gonna do is we're gonna go out of our little room here. And it's really up to you on kind of what you determine to be a room. So I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I think what I'll do is I'm gonna go up and clear this out first and go into this first room here. So I'm going to stand right in the middle of the door, and I'll say that at least this first section is one room. I might make these smaller areas rooms as well. So let's go back, and what we're doing now is we have a light source. We're being cautious. So I do want to advance the time track. So we'll go back to our form fillable character sheet 2, and it is a Monday. And actually, that is important. Gosh, there's so much to remember here. But so right now, this is the time track. And as you go through an entire loop on this time track, you will cycle through 10 separate cycles. Once you do that, you get through a full day. So for now, I did make a note down here that after talking to Alex, torches and batteries last one full cycle. So we're only going to worry, even though it says light torch, change battery, on this little piece of the pie, this down here, we're going to do it at the very end. Only happens once. So for now, we're going to move forward one on the track because we're being cautious and we're entering a new room. Before we do that, though, I know, like I said, there's a lot to remember. Quick pause because I want to explain what does it mean that we're on a Monday. So let's go back to our character sheet, our rule book, and we're going to go into bookmarks. We've got our time explaining investigation track. I want to go to our time track. So where is my time? Gameplay sites, temperature. No. Can never find it when I'm looking for it. So I'm just gonna type in time track. Tracking time, that's what I want to go to. Okay. So the reason I wanted to share this with you, and I'll close this down, is all newly created characters. You can see where I've highlighted this. I just forgot to come back here. But all newly created characters start the game on a Monday. No effects. However, as we progress through the days of the week, there are different, I don't know if they're gods, creatures, but they're called protogenoi, and they preside over each day of the week. So they could have there could be a neutral aspect, a negative aspect, or a positive aspect for that entire day, which again is 10 complete cycles. So we'll look at that as we progress during the days. And if I scroll to the next page, on Monday, it shows here basically the protogenoi that presides over Mondays is the Morai. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Then I would roll a D10 and I would track these effects for the entire Monday. So the 10 cycles of the time tracker. But it says for now, again, starts on a Monday, effects are neutral. This does help you remember when you have to move forward on the time track. So I'm gonna keep track on a wet, dry, or a wet erase board for now. Rooms investigated, and maybe later I will put this into the character sheet. So I'm going to make a little note because once I get through 3, the time track moves up by 1. If I search a room, it moves up by 1. So there's several things that will trigger us moving forward on the time track. All right, so we're in a room. We'll go back and we will roll on the, we're going to roll on the room contents. So let's start with that, and we're going to roll a D10. Oh, wrong thing. Let's clear that out. It's not a D10. This is a D10. So I believe that's a 4. No, it doesn't, can't really tell there, but it did roll as a 4. You can see that in chat too. So a 4 is an event. Okay, so let's see. So I am going to have an event. I always get a little bit confused as to which I roll first, because you will roll on room features and room contents. So going back, so we know it's going to be an event, so we can deal with that. But I want to go back to this for a second. Room features, room contents. All right, so we're going to go into the room feature and contents, and we know we're going to have an event. So let's look up the apartment. So we're going to look for the apartment. Sites here. Temperature. Let's look at our various sites. Apartment block. And site exploration. Here we go. Okay, we did that. Room features, room contents. So we will get to go to the room features table here. So let's look at that. So every room is going to be different. So this D100 I'm going to roll is specific to the apartment block I'm in. So we'll pick up a couple of dice here that should roll a D100 on the screen. And that is it looks like that's a 94. So we are going to flip down to the 94, and then I will read. You can see there's a lot of detail in here. So let's read what this is. Okay, so in the room I just opened, what it says is, an animal smell lingers in this apartment. Someone had a pet, but luckily you didn't find it here. You do, however, find a wall-mounted sign defaced to read, no pets, or maybe it says pets. Below a dog food bowl is inscribed, Nika says, fuck landlords. Okay, so I'm going to say room 1, and I'm going to actually, let's do this. I'm going to select this, copy this. I do want to create in my journal. I'm going to go back to my journal and say room 1. Just maybe in the future, I'll do this differently because I'd like to do it on the map, but I was having a little bit of trouble for those of you that were here. But I'm going to say room features, and we're going to type that in. And I can deal with some of this later, but just to make a note of what's in there so I know in the future for next session. So that's the room feature. So let's go back, and then in addition to that, we are going to go back and roll on room contents. Let's get back to the right section. And I think that will be just past, oh, maybe it won't be. Let's open this so I'm not flipping around too much. So there's room features, then we'll go to room contents. And okay, so that's what I should have rolled features first. Contents, I already rolled for those that were watching earlier. And I did roll on an event. So I did roll a 4, I think it was. So I rolled an event. So what we're going to do then is look for the events here. So again, I'm in the apartment. There's actually the contents. Yeah, I don't think the contents are specific. I think the room features are specific. I don't think the contents are. So we'll go back. Sorry, I'm flipping around. We're going to roll a D66 and see what type of event we face. So I'm going to grab 2 D6s and we'll roll them. So that looks like, I'll just take them as it shows there in chat, which is a 24. I don't know which one's first. We're just going to call that at 24. So here we go. Some sort of primitive trap, oh my God, is set here. Perform a perception check to spot the trap. If you fail, roll on the setbacks table. If you spot it, perform a dex check to avoid. Otherwise, you must roll on the setback table. So I'm going to do this. Some sort of trap is here. So we're going to say, like, I don't know. We'll see, I guess, what the setback is, and then we can role play what that trap is. So I'm going to go back to my journal for a second because I want to have that. I'm going to say room contents, and we'll say some sort of trap here, which is excellent. So let's go back and we're going to roll on it said perception. So again, all of your skill targets are a 20. So I get to add 5, but I need to roll a d20, and then I get to add 5 to it, and I need to get a 20. 17. Okay. So that's a 22. So that means I at least spot the trap. So that's good. If you spot it, now I have to roll a dex check to avoid it. Otherwise, you must roll on the setbacks table. So man, you got to get 2 checks. So it says dex check. So since I have a 10, I assume that's just your straight up attribute. So that's not bad. So let's roll a d20 and let's do a dex check. 7 plus 10 is a 17. That's no bueno. That means we fail because we have to get a 20. So now we have to look on the setbacks table. So I guess because we did at least see it, I think the -2 modification will make the setback a little bit less taxing, or a little bit worse, or less worse. So less bad. So I think if we would have just failed outright, then we would have rolled straight on the setbacks table. So let's go to page 44 and we'll see what that setbacks table is. Sorry, I'm flipping a lot. 45, 44, setbacks. So let's roll a d10. Let's see what kind of setback we get. 2. And it said I get a -2, so I assume, like everything, you can't go lower off the table than a 1. It's not like you can go to a 0. So I'll take that as an eye injury. You have disadvantage on all perception checks related to eyesight. So I am going to make a note, I guess, in my character journal again, and we'll say, I don't know, we'll say, how about current effects? There are conditions, and we'll say current effect is eye injury, disadvantage on perception checks relying on sight. Not sure how to, like, does that mean, I don't know. I'll have to see how I play that, I guess, does it affect all of my, every one of these or not? So every encounter now? We'll have to see. I'll have to figure out how to play that. So let's go to my icons. And I'm going to drop a 1 in here. And I don't think, again, it's going to let me. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to try one other thing. Can I just, new location? Maybe that's what I'm doing wrong. New location, map from image. No. Map from image, ships, settlements, planets. New character, new foe, new character. God, I swear I've done this before. Let's try this one more time. Hex map. Oh, no, I do not want to do that. Let's not do that. New location. I feel like it should be mapped from image. Uh-oh, did it just freeze up? Oh, no. Okay, so it didn't completely freeze up. Let's try this one more time. Map from image, and I'm gonna say, there we go. And then let's just do for now, I'm just gonna drag this 2 over. And can I? Create map. Huh. Oh, well, I'm going to figure this out because I had this figured out before. But the nice thing is here, this is where I'm just going to make that it shows as a 2. So I won't do the description, but if I can do this better next time, this is what I want it to do. There we go. Gosh, I'll figure it out next time. But at least now we've got that room done. And I'm going to check off one of the rooms on my investigation. And let's go back and look at our guide. So we did the room features. Once we clear the room of energy, you can search the room. It does add one to your time track, but man, I think I'm so early in the game. I think I do want to find anything I can. So let's go to the scavenge table and we will look to see what we can find because I think it'd be helpful if I can find something here. Hopefully. Crafting and supplies, scavenging table. Here we go. All right, so I need to make a scavenging roll. My scavenge is 8. So let's roll a d20. Want a 12 or more. So we rolled awesome. We rolled a 17. And let me know if you guys can see that okay in chat too, if it's popping up all right. But so we rolled a 17. So that means I did find something. Now I roll 2d6. So we'll roll our 2d6, and that is a 6. So I found one scavenged item. Roll on the scavenged items table. Okay, so now I roll a d20. See what I find. 15. So 15 is d4 upkeep. I don't know what that is. I'm going to have to look at that d4 upkeep. See if it tells me down here. Upkeep. Upkeep is an abstract measure that represents various supplies. You must spend upkeep to keep a weapon you have functional if it has the upkeep quality. If you cannot, the weapon is not functional. Okay. So maybe that'll be helpful. So it's d4. So I assume I would roll a d4, which I will do. Yes, I will. So 4. All right. So 4 upkeep. So let's go back to our form fillable character sheet and let's scroll down to, there's our weapons, items. I guess I don't know. It's just an abstract. I guess I'll put it in your pockets. It's upkeep. I don't know what that is. So we'll say upkeep 4 and we'll just keep that in our inventory for now. And we did scavenge. So I do need to move one more time on the tracker here. So let's go back to our guy here. And I guess let's just say we kind of just got into that room. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't mean to. There we go. So because I think you're going to be on these maps a lot, and I don't think, let's see, is there a time? I'm going to go back and look at site tracker. This is when you finish. So investigation tracked. I'm going to look on my little form fillable here. Counter. Tracking time. I don't remember on the investigation track. I just want to make sure I get this right, and this will go smoother next time. But let's look up the investigation track before I move forward. Tracking time. How about the site exploration, the investigation track? This is what I'm looking for. Okay. Once you decide the site you're going, you'll need to mark your progress. Each time you clear a room, you add +2 to the site's investigation track. So we just cleared a room, and we're going to go to these form fillable. I'm going to put in apartment block. And this is actually for when I completely finish it. So you can see you're supposed to go through these several times. So once I do it the first time, I'll be able to check this off. And actually, I didn't mean to do that, but that's okay. But once I do this, I will be able to get a new talent, which will be cool. So for now, I'm going to say apartment block. And so I can tick off 2 on the investigation track. What happens with the investigation track is when I feel like I've explored enough and I want to confront the Make, which again is the boss monster, I would roll a D100 against my investigation score. So if I only have like a 20, I need to get a 20 or under on a D100 to invoke the Make. Otherwise, I do find the Make, but I actually suffer 2 wounds. So I only have 3 wounds. So I would suffer 2 wounds and confront the boss monster. So that's not good. Okay, so we are going to go back and we're just going to basically say he pops in the air and he's going to go into this back room. So he's standing kind of right and he sees like maybe it looks like it's a 2-bedroom apartment. He looked in the front, something like collapsed on him, hit him in the face, in the eye. So he's got this eye damage, but he's still going to be stealthy. So I think what I might do is, because I'm listening and I'm being quiet, I don't know, some perception checks, I'll try to use that, or maybe I'll do it 50-50. I'll have to think about it, but give myself disadvantage. So in this one, I'm going to roll a new stealth check. I think you have to do one, I would think, each time. So I'm going to roll a new stealth check before I enter this room in order to be cautious. So let's roll a D20. Oh, that's not good. So that's a 3 plus 10 is a 13. So I've got a 13 on being cautious here. So let's go back on this one seemed, while I'm getting used to it, I kind of like the rule book for the side exploration, because it's a little more clear. So here we go. So I was cautious. I've got a 13. Roll on the room's features to the site that you're in. So we'll go back to the apartment block here. And let's find the room features. And then we'll look at the content. So we're in the apartment block, so we're going to roll a D100. So that looks like a 9. Yep, it's a 9. So let's read here. So I open this, kind of in the back part of this apartment. And what it says is someone emptied this apartment on their way out, evidenced by a trail of fallen books and DVDs. So maybe I'm in somebody's bedroom. They left something here. You feel it watching you from the unlikeliest of places. The dirty oven, the cramped pantry, the bathroom mirror, all empty when you look, but the chills on your neck quickly return. So I think sometimes when you open these, it might not always completely fit. So I'm just going to say, look, I'm in this guy's or this man or woman's bedroom, and there's a TV on, or maybe the TV's off, but you know how when you look at a TV, you see kind of a reflection image. I'm gonna say that it just feels like something's watching me from this like TV that's been turned off. So let's do this and let's see if I can do this time. New location, map from image. Let's use my files here, and I might have to add in more later, but we're gonna do this 3 here, and we'll create a map with that 3, and we're gonna say apartment, or we're gonna say room number 2. Maybe I'll change these next session so it's obvious, because you would think this should be, we'll make this room number 2, and maybe I can make this room number 1. There we go. Finally getting it. So now if I wanted to, I could type in, and this does take markup, but I could type it in just so we have that description next time. So I've got that in there, and I'm going to make this, I said room. I'll leave it at the way it is, even though that shows as a 3. And this probably shows as a 2, but can I just change? Yeah. We'll just say that's room number 1. And this is room number 2. Okay, perfect. Why isn't this changing it? Oh, we'll say this is room number 1. I don't know why that didn't change. All right, it's all good. Yeah, it just took a second to change. Okay, Now what we need to do is we need to roll on the room contents. So let's go back to the room contents, bookmarks, and room contents. And we're going to roll a D10 to figure out is it a discovery, event, or an encounter. So let's roll our D10. Three. It's a discovery. Cool. We're not encountering things yet, which is probably good because I'm going to be pretty weak. I'm a brand new character and all I got is a crowbar. So, okay. So discovery, and I'm going to roll on this D100 table for discovery. So let's do that. So that is a 70. All right. So let's scroll down to a 70. Manual. Spread over a table, you find some notes and diagrams describing how to improvise useful tools and weapons, heal wounds, and other useful tricks and tips. Roll on the manuals table. That's cool. Let me copy that. Roll on the manuals table. So I'm going to, I thought I already made a description here. I did. So let's just return down here a little bit. See if I can do a shift return. And I'm going to say room contents. Find. I wonder if I can just do Control J. Probably not. Nope. That doesn't do anything. It's all right. So I can worry about this later. Yeah. I'm anal. I'm trying to get this to look nice, so I don't need to worry about that too much. And this will be the room features. Okay, so now let's find, and if I want to, I think I could even do, maybe not. All right, we'll do that for now. And now let's find the manuals table. So let's just search manuals table. Oh, maybe I'll just look for manuals. Manuals table. Wait, it does say the manuals table. All right, let's see if there is a table in here or if that's a mistake in the book. Ranged weapon, instruments of harm, crafting, supplies. Soul forge, crafting table, scavenging table, ranged weapons. I do not see investigation track. I think I might have to make a note and ask Alex. I don't see a manuals table. Event, discovery. Yeah, I don't see anywhere, and I did a search for manuals. So I'm gonna make a note of that. Alex notes. Ask Alex from Black Oath. Manuals table ? All right. So okay. So that's a room. So now what do we need to do here after we've finished the room? Roll the room content. Now we can scavenge, but if we do that, then we tick again on the time track. So let's go to the time track because I was cautious. I searched a room. So 1, 2, when I was cautious in the second room, I should have moved on the time track. So I'll do that now. And then I think I'm going to go ahead. I just think when you have the opportunity to scavenge, you scavenge. So let's roll on, let's do a scavenge roll and see if we can find anything. So that's a D20. 19, awesome. So I definitely find something because I get to add my scavenge roll of 8. So that's a 27. So let's go back to the scavenge table. Scavenge table. Bookmarks. And I think it's at the very bottom. There we go. All right, so I was already successful in the roll. So now let's roll 2d6 and see what it goes, see what it gives us. So we're just going to roll those as they show in chat, a 1 and a 2. So I'm just going to always go left to right. So that's a 1 and a 2. Oh, that's just a 3. Sorry, I thought it was a D60 or something, or D66. So that's a 3. which is melee weapon. Roll a D86. Awesome. So let's find our weapon. I think that's down here. Here's a melee weapon. All right, so let's roll a D86. So here is my 8, and here's a 6, and here comes the roll. So that is a 75. I'm just reading those left to right as you see those dice at the bottom right of chat. 75. That is an old phone. Seriously? Of all the things that I get in here, I get an old phone. Is this like it's a wall-mounted phone, like one of those rotary dial phones, and that's my weapon? I guess it's better than nothing. So let me write that down. An old phone. Excellent. So we will scroll down to our weapons. Old phone. I think that was a stunned +1. And let's see what else. Stun +1. Medium and breakable. Of course it's breakable. It's an old phone. So we'll say medium breakable. And I'm not going to worry too much yet about tracking things in backpacks and what have you. And I'm going to definitely keep my crowbar for the moment as my weapon of choice. I don't think I want to walk around with a phone's not going to strike fear in the heart of anyone I come across. Okay, so I did that. Did I move forward on the... Okay, so I did that. Now that I scavenged, I move forward another. So I've done that. And then I get to go to my investigation track. So every time you clear out a room, you're clicking on 2 more. I feel like I'm gonna read really quickly on my... I've got some of these sheets printed out, so I'm just trying to see if I'm missing anything. Tracking time. Each 3 rooms explored. So I do need to... So that's 2 rooms, so 1 more, and I move another one on the time track. Moving between sites, performing first aid, using stealth, searching a room. Okay, I think I'm doing all right. So let's go back to our hero here, Adam. So Adam is going to... Let's just, again, I want to use as much as we can of this map because I have a feeling we're going to be in it over and over again. So I don't want to be stingy. For this room, maybe I won't do this in every room, but we're going to go ahead and say this room down here is its own room too. And I think, does it say roll stealth? I think I have to keep rolling stealth before each room. Yeah, I mean, it says for each room, decide if you're cautious. And if so, +1. I'm going to keep doing what I think is working. So I'm going to be cautious. So we're going to have to roll again. So we had a 13. We're going to discard our 13 and we're going to roll another D20 here. So our sneaking is +10. So 20. Booyah. 20 +10. So I've got a 30 on my stealth. So I am like quiet as a church mouse, man. I'm opening this door and there's a ton of WD-40 on it and I just come right in. So then we will roll on the room features. So we'll go back on the room features. And I'm starting to get a hang for where these things are. So room feature, and I'm sure I'll roll some double duplicates. I don't know what I'll do if I roll duplicates. If I'll roll again, I might, just to keep it interesting. Yeah, we'll see. But let's 56. So it looks like there's 2 numbers for every room. So given it's a D100, it looks like there's 50 different opportunities to have something unique. So we'll go to a D50 here. Okay. This apartment doesn't like the way you're snooping around. What? You first noticed it when the hanging light tilted slowly away from you as you entered. The furniture recoils as you approach, and the hallway seems to lengthen as you walk down them. So I'm envisioning in this case, I'm walking in this room, and it's a little bit like the Twilight Zone, right? It's, you know, you come in here and like it starts to elongate, or maybe it was Poltergeist that did that. But I'm kind of envisioning like there's this hanging light thing that's flopping around, and And then I'm kind of my eye, because I have my injured eye, I'm kind of blinking, and this room starts elongating as I'm getting into it. So we'll say new location here, map from image, my files only. We'll do a 3 here, and we'll create the map, and we'll say room number 3, and we'll change this to this here. Oh, one thing I did, I don't want to forget to do this. So I did these tokens for a reason. So let's go to my icons, and I've searched so far in the first 2 rooms. So I have this little eye icon, and I intended to do that to track the rooms I searched in. So I'm going to kind of just move these in so that I know, because you can only search or scavenge once each room. So as I'm doing this, I'm just going to put that eye in there to remind myself, yes, I've searched in it. Okay, so I don't need to worry about that. So let's go back to the room. Let's get rid of this. Let's open this bad boy. Let's go to the description. Let's pop that in there. And again, maybe I'll clean this up in between sessions so I'm not boring you. But at least now we have that room, and I'll call that the room features. And then we'll see what the room content is. So again, we were quiet. We got a great score. But let's go back to our room contents, and we roll a D10. I'll start remembering this probably next session. And let me see. Let me find a D10. Let's roll 3. Wow, I've not rolled an encounter yet. I guess it's not super shocking, because you got a 40% chance for an encounter, 60% chance for a discovery or an event. So not too terribly surprising. So, okay, so we got a 3, which is a discovery. So now we're going to roll a D100. 53. So medicine cabinet. So I come into this room. It's obviously, maybe it's one of those, it's a bedroom, but it's got like a bathroom off to the side. So I look at that, and I find hanging on the wall above the sink a medicine cabinet. And somehow it's still untouched. And I find D4 medical supplies. So let's go back here, and let's say room contents. And we'll pop that in here. And again, I'll clean up the text so you don't have to look at those. But I will clean up the actual content later. I think this takes Markdown. So if I do want to mess around and do stuff like this, I think that'll work. And do like bold and things of that nature. Yep, so that's kind of cool. I like that. So again, the auger. In fact, if anyone's interested and you want to check this out, there we go. So you can take a look at that. It's more for solo RPGs, and it has Ironsworn and Starforged if you're interested in that. So okay, D4 medical supplies. So how many medical supplies do we get? So we get 2 medical supplies. So let's go back to our character sheet. I'm going to try to keep everything tracked here. And for now, I guess I'm just going to put it looks like I get 10 items in my sports bag, and I've got 4. So I'm going to go ahead and put, I'm assuming for now, I'm going to say those medical supplies are 1. It take up 1 slot at least. I don't know. Maybe that's not right. But for now, we're going to say that. And we'll say 2. So that's good, because whenever you do a medicine or a first aid check, you need to have medical supplies. So that's a really nice find early on. All right, so we got that. So I would say, let's see, did I move forward? I've got to get a sequence so I don't forget these things. But I just came into the room. I don't think 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I think I need to move on my track for my time track, because I was stealthy, and then I won't do it yet. I guess I'll do it after each time, but I'm definitely going to scavenge, even though I found D4 medical supplies, and I could even probably say I find, now that I know, 2 medical supplies, and just put that in. But I'm going to go ahead and scavenge, right? Every room I'm in, it's going to cost me some time, but I'm going to definitely scavenge anytime I can. 1. So 1 plus 10, well, it doesn't matter. 1 plus 8 is 9. So I waste the time and I do not find anything. But that's the first room. So I should go ahead and note that I searched that room. So let's put a little icon, eye icon in there. So we'll put a 3 in there. So I can see I've searched all those. So I kind of cleared out that whole upper left section. So let's go ahead and I'm going to go across the hallway. It looks like I can go down. I'm on the top floor, so I can go down. And then remember, I'm going to actually, I'll just remember this is my apartment, but I'll update that before next session. So let's go into this next room, and that is my third room investigated. So by doing that, that moves forward 1 on the time track. So I need to move. So again, I did the scavenge, which took some time, and I went ahead and that's my third room. So every time you do 3 rooms, then you can move 1 more on the time tracks. That's what I did down here. So I'm just about to switch over. I think I stopped there, but I will do this and assume that I have to use a battery, I guess, change my battery. So let's go back to my character sheet. Well, I'm on my character sheet. So let's go, and I had a flashlight and 2 batteries. So for now, I'm going to say that was 1 battery. And again, I don't know if this is right, but I'm going to say no battery now. So I've used that battery that's in my flashlight. And I will say now I'm down to 1 battery that I've now put in my flashlight. Well, I'll just do this way. 1 flashlight, but I'll say I have 1 battery now fully in the flashlight, and I have 1 spare battery now, which is really important to keep the light source. So that is going to be, it might hamstring me. So I've done that. Now I need to consume a ration. I think I have some food, and I think that becomes an issue if you don't. I thought I did. I thought you'd come with something. Medical supply. Oh, there we go. Rations. So I forgot. So I got these medical supplies too. I'd forgotten, as part of the character creation, you do start with 1 medical supply. So I'm just going to take that out of here. So I've got medical supplies and a bandage, I think. Maybe that's what the bandage was. I'll say medical supplies. I'll read this later. I think that bandage, they might be like the same thing, saying I have basically 3 medical supplies, 1 bandage, and 2 supplies, but I will consume a ration. That takes me down to 4. And now the next time I have to move over, I'm moving to the next cycle, but still the same day. All right. So let's go into our next room here. We're going to be stealthy because that's what we do. So I'm disappointed. I've got to get rid of my 30, but let's roll my stealth again. I rolled a 10, so not too bad. A 10 plus my stealth of sneaking of 10 is 20. So I'm just writing that down on a little wet erase thing I have here just to track some of these things. So that is a 20, but I guess I'll do that now so I don't forget. I was cautious. So I do need to move this to the next day. Now I'm into the second cycle. And again, you stay, as I understand it, I think you go through 10 full cycles before you change days. And once you're on your 3rd cycle, you get into the devouring. So I'll probably call tonight before we get into the devouring, and we'll see how much further we get. A few more rooms maybe, but we'll keep going for now. So, okay, so we're going to go into our room. We've got our stealth roll. We've got our 20. We are going to roll on the features table. So let's go back again and find our features. Let me know if you guys are liking this at all, whether you comment in the video or you let me know later. I'm trying to determine if I keep going with this next session, next Wednesday, or if I play a different game and just keep rotating. I'm inclined to maybe do at least a few sessions of this and really get into it before I switch games, but let me know what you think. I'd be interested in what everybody thinks. Either in chat now or in comments later are fine too. All right, room features. Let us roll a D100. 10. So I found this one already. So I'm going to re-roll. It doesn't say you do that, but I want to keep mixing it up and having a different experience. So maybe I won't do that every time, but for now I will. 76. Walking down a hallway, you see an explicably bright window. As you approach, it shows a sunny landscape, healthy green trees, and no sign of ash anywhere. Now, the importance of the ash is, it did say in the pretext to the game that when you're looking outside, there's just a very thin coat of ash that continuously falls from the sky. So what this says is that the illusion, so you don't see any ash, but the illusion breaks within a few feet. It's a false window, an electrically lit vision of the past. Interesting. Okay. So I'm going to take that. We're going to call that a new room, new location, map from image, and we'll do a 4. And we're going to create that map and say room number 4. And we're going to change that. And we will drop in this here. And again, I'll clean this up later. We'll say room features. And I will, though, I do want to do some markdown on this to make it look a little nicer. And we'll go down to here and we'll say room contents. Okay, so room contents. Now everyone knows what we need to do here. Excuse me. Go back to the auger. All right. So now we're rolling a D10. 7 through a 10 is going to be a encounter. So we'll see what we do here. Room contents. All right. A 1. Wow, I keep avoiding encounters. Interesting. Discovery. So let's look at our discovery. We'll do a D100. 12. Roll in the scavenging table. So very cool. So nothing really strange, but you do get to just roll outright on the scavenging table. So I'm going to find that table again. I'm glad I'm getting some of these and getting a little bit built up, at least a bit. So bookmarks, we're down to scavenging table. All right, and we're going to do our 2d6. That's an 8, so 1 times crafting supplies. So let's go back up to our character sheet and let's see if there's any spots. So here's my crafting supplies. So I'm going to put a 1 into the crafting supplies here. I don't know that takes up inventory spots. Like I said, I don't know if I need to worry about these down here, but I'll look at that between sessions. All right, so that's that. I am not going to search in this room. I feel like I've just found something, and in this case, I will go ahead and state 1x crafting supplies. So we'll show that in that room. So I'm not going to search, so I won't put a little eye investigation there. But what I will do is I'm at least going to go in this top back room, and I will look for I will just investigate that next room. So let me look back. I don't think I'm forgetting this, but somebody can tell me in the video if I am. So I popped over, I was cautious. So I think I switched that over. So I'm going to be cautious again. So I guess I'll just start trying to remember. So as I go into this room, I'm being cautious. So I'm advancing the time track 1. And I will roll on my stealth or my sneaking. I rolled a 3, not very good. So 3 plus 10 is 13. So I have a 13 on my sneaking. So now let's look at our room features. And I might take duplicates, given I'm going to be in here a lot. So if I do have some duplicates, I'll just kind of say, it's a standard room, nothing unusual. So maybe I will do that going forward. So let's look at our room features. We'll roll a D100. And that is an 18. So 18. So everything in this apartment is laid bare. Gone is the microwave door, the cupboard doors, the window shades, the couch cushion covers, even the shower curtain is nowhere to be seen. So I'm going to say, like, I opened the door. So I'm in the apartment. I opened the door with what I thought was somebody's bedroom, right? It's a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment. And literally, it's just everything is gone. There's like nothing in this room, but it's eerie. It looks like things were there. It's just as if they vanished. I don't know, but let's take that, and we are going to make that a room 5. So we'll pop up here a new location, and I will do a 5 and create that map. And we'll say room number 5. And I could probably do this a little bit different. I feel like I'm not. Yeah, I think I'll do this a little bit differently in the future. So let's do this. And we're going to say room features. Welcome again. Those of you popping in and out, I hope you enjoy it. Under Ashen Skies, horror RPG by Black Oath Entertainment. I really like it. It's a cool, creepy vibe, and I'm still learning how to play, but I've not seen any playthroughs out there other than one other basic, like, how-to playthrough that I've done. Otherwise, I haven't really seen anything else out there on it. So I'm hoping to get people excited about it and want to play themselves. So, all right. So that's room features, room contents. And we need to roll, let's see. I already advanced the time track. I think I was cautious. Yep, I got a 13. So now we determine what type of room this is or what the contents are. So let's go back to the panes, and we're going to go to room contents. So a D10. So let's roll our D10. 1. Discovery. I've not rolled on any type of encounters yet. That's really surprising. So we'll roll our D100. And maybe this first session will just get into it. My survivor's poking around and just pretty quiet. 45. Decapitated body. Oh my God. So a body once belonged to a janitor, judging by the uniform it's wearing, still sitting in a chair. On its side, you see a big key ring with a bunch of keys. Next time you find a lock, there's a 50% chance that one of the keys fits. That's cool. So let's copy this, and I'm going to pop back over to room contents, drop that in there, and I'm going to put that in my journal as well. But so I guess, look, the room seemed empty, but again, remember, I've got like disadvantage. I don't know how I get rid of that injury. I'm going to have to look at that later, but I have an eye injury from a trap, and I'll have to look at if I can get that, if I can use like a first aid kit, or maybe I'll house rule that. But, maybe everything looked empty, but then I see this body sitting in a chair, just blood dripping down the front of this kind of stark white shirt, and maybe his head's hanging back off. It's off, but he's decapitated. But I find this key ring. So I am going to open my journal, and I'm going to say room 5, key ring can be used when a key is needed. Next lock, 50% chance it fits. So I'll try to remember that. That's cool. So, shoot, I did not do the ambush encounter. I'm reading that again. So let's just one thing at a time. So I found that. I advanced on the tracker. I went quiet. I have not searched yet, but I want to look back for a second at ambush encounters. So at the start of each new cycle, you must roll a d10, and a result of 1 to 2 means you are ambushed by a random enemy. So we're just going to do that right now. So we're going to roll a d10. 6. So no ambush. So I have 6 possible encounters, but I'm not ambushed, thankfully. So you know what? I feel like I'm using a lot of time. I'm finding some cool stuff, but I'm going to pause one other. Don't think I'm going to do anything with this room yet. I can always go back and search it. And I think you can backtrack. So I am going to, let's see, I did 1, 2, 3. So now I've done 1, 2 rooms, 1 more room, and I advance another on the time track. So let's investigate maybe at least 1 more room, and then I might call it for this session. So I'm going to pop down here and then look right outside my apartment building in the room kind of right across from me. See what I see. So we're going to do a stealth roll. We're going to be cautious. So we got a 16. 16 plus 10 is a 26. So I'm making that mark down. And I am going to go ahead and mark on my time track. So I'm going to move down 1 because I'm being cautious. So I don't want to forget that. So I step into the room and let's see, what do I see? So we will open up our room features. We'll roll out your D100. 26. A woman holding an empty shotgun lies dead. Bullet holes radiating out from her position, slumped in a corner. She is surrounded by thousands of bugs that pay you no mind, but crawl over her in orderly, tender waves. How in the world is that tender? That's just disturbing. But I like it. So, okay. So we're going to make this room 6. So we're going to say blank from image. And we're just going to use, I don't have a 6. Can I add a map image? Yeah, I don't want to do it that way. I'll figure this out later, I guess. I wonder if I can I'm just going to use this. I'll just use this one, and I'll figure this out next time. And we're going to call this room number 6. And we are going to update this to a 6. Okay, good. So I don't really care about the first image. And then we're going to say room features. All right, and then we're going to say room content. All right, so now let's roll. And by now I think we're starting to know 7 through a 10 would be a combat. So let's go to our bookmarks, and we're going to go to contents, and let's roll a d10. A 5, an event. So still no encounter, but we do have an event. So let's look at the event. And this is, I think these are standard, let's just a D66. All right. 7, sorry. But we'll do that in order. So 25. Some sort of primitive trap. Another trap. I've already had one of these. Oh, crap. So we won't re-roll. I mean, that happens, it happens. So we are going to go ahead and roll on the trap table here. So perform a perception check first. And so this one, okay, so this is like spotting the trap. So I will say I have disadvantage on this. So I will roll, and I think I can roll this with disadvantage and to see whether or not I spot it. I think that's fair. So it did roll. Okay, great. 2. I rolled a 9 as my lowest die. I dropped a 15. A 9 plus my perception of 5 is 14. I need to get a 20, so I failed. So I just roll straight on the setbacks table, which is a 44. Page 44. So one thing I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to have to ask Alex or look. I want to read this. So when a character triggers a trap, some sort of energy, these are setbacks. And while some of them can be fatal, oh my God, most of them just make the character's lives more difficult and will require a successful first aid check to remove. So I can remove that. That's good to know. Let's roll a D10 here. Oh my God. I walked into this room. Your wounds are so terrible that you die instantly. So I just envision walking into this room. This woman has a shotgun on her lap. And let's just read that again. I need to read this. Oh my God. So she's holding what I think what I would say is it appears that she has an empty shotgun. She's lying dead, bullet holes radiating out of her from her position. It looks like she was shooting at something, but these bugs are crawling all over her and they hit the trigger again somehow. And this shotgun just blasts me to pieces. And I'm standing in the doorway and I am shot right in the chest and I fall down dead. So let's go. What a first session. I'm going to go to my bookmarks here and look up death and wounds and death. Why do I sound so excited to die? I mean, I shouldn't be so excited, right? But I don't mind it at all. So where is my room features? Wounds are up here. Wounds, healing, and death. So I will say that, and it says somewhere in here, I remember reading that, death comes often and you don't always die. So what I need to look at is, where is the death? Here we go. All right. Death comes often and swiftly, as we just saw, in the twisted world of Under Ashen Skies, whether it's coming to poison or whatever. Each time a PC dies, you must then roll on the death table. Once you die, you wake up back in the apartment, assuming you don't die outright. So it's kind of like a respawn regen. It's a little Groundhog's Day. But it says, aside from the consequences described in the death table, dying resets the time track, but doesn't have any other effect. Critical injuries or things that have been reduced stay that way. I'm going to say that like my temporary, like my eye thing, that goes away. But let's roll a D10 because 1 to 2, my soul is lost forever. I'm gone. This game is over. And I would have to restart with another character. So let's roll a D10. And let's see what happens to our fearless hero here. An 8. So the trauma of dying has made you lose a part of who you are. You lose the last memory you regained, which I have not regained anything yet, and all its benefits. So no real impact. I will wake up back in my apartment, back in here, like just what the heck happened. I'm going to make a note in my journal. And I'm going to say day 1. Well, this is still day 1. I'm going to say room 6. Killed by shotgun blast, respawned in apartment. All right, so I had planned on going like roughly 1.5 to 2 hours each session. So I think I'm going to call it there. It's a good time. I died. I do, whether you're looking at this and those of you that watch live, I really appreciate it. Or if you're watching on YouTube, let me know if you guys want to see another session of Under Ashen Skies and have our hero keep walking through this world, discovering, or if you want to switch up to another game. My initial inclination now is maybe play through a few sessions. Once I get through maybe 3 sessions, maybe I'll switch it up to Cairnathalis or 2D6 Dungeon. But I think I want to keep going and exploring with my friend Adam. Or I keep saying Adam. Oh my gosh, it's Alex T. Why do I'm changing the name. The whole point was that I wanted him to be Alex. I wanted to name him after the author of the game. I don't know why I was thinking Adam. So let's go back up here. Okay, I said Alex there. I just kept calling him Adam. So let me know what you think. I enjoyed it. It was no combat this time, but I feel like he got some supplies. He got some medicine. I do think all of that, when you die, I'll look this up before next session. I think your backpack and everything stays back in that room. Fortunately, that's just the room across the hall, so it's probably not a super big deal, but something that I'll have to look at and how death and dying works. So anyway, I think that's it for this session. I'm going to upload this and I'll be curious. Please go ahead and hit the like button if you're watching this. And if you like the video, if not, totally understand. If you want to see more, and next week, I'll be back next Wednesday night at 7 o'clock to probably play more Under Ashen Skies, unless I get a lot of feedback that people want to see something else. Till next time, thanks for watching, everyone. Appreciate it.